The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by the American writer Mark Twain is the story of a young boy who runs away from his violent father and the limits that society puts on him. He escapes with Jim, a slave who wants to go to the anti-slavery states and buy his family freedom. In their adventure, they navigate the Mississippi River and meet different characters and situations which make readers think about issues such as slavery, racism, hypocrisy, and societal norms. As the friendship between Huck and Jim grows, the boy starts changing the ideas he was brought up with as he realizes Jim is more humane than most people he met in his life. The novel reflects the contradictions and the changes of the American society by the end of the 19th century, and it still has relevance because many of the issues the work deals with represent actual problems of the contemporary United States. Mark Twain's real name was Samuel Clemens. He is best known for The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and its sequel Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Twain also wrote other novels, short stories, and essays. He also worked as a journalist, lecturer, and riverboat pilot. It was published in 1885, but the story is set 20 years before the American Civil War. At that time, the North and the South were divided by economic, social, and political concerns. The North had abolished slavery, but in the South it was the foundation of the economy and the social life. Besides, the country was expanding westwards, and both sides wanted to get political influence over these new territories, which caused the Civil War in 1861. During those years, realism as a literary movement emerged as opposed to romanticism, trying to represent life as it truly was, with its intricacies and flaws. Realism focused on ordinary people in everyday situations in which social inequality, corruption, and the consequences of the Industrial Revolution were common issues. This book is a clear example of this movement. It is set along the Mississippi River. It explores on themes such as racism, slavery, social hypocrisy, and class inequality. The novel is considered a coming-of-age story, for it reflects how the main character evolves and changes his way of seeing many aspects of life. The use of vernacular language gives authenticity to the story, with the use of specific dialects to indicate social, educational, and regional differences between characters. Twain employs satire to critique many aspects of society, such as slavery and social norms, with the use of humor and irony. He makes use of many symbols to represent different ideas. For example, the Mississippi River represents freedom as opposed to the towns on the river's banks, where social norms do not let Huck be himself and make Jim a slave. During the story, Huck is used to expose the morality and hypocrisy of society. Christians are supposed to be good people, but their hypocrisy in their actions reflect the lack of concerns for the injustices of slavery and the cruelty of separating families. The boy has an internal conflict because his growing set of values do not match social expectations, which leads him to challenge social norms. Freedom is delved into from the perspectives of both Huck and Jim. Huck looks for freedom from social norms and the chance to have a life without responsibilities. Jim wishes freedom from the chains of slavery and the opportunity to meet his wife and daughter again. Slavery is an important issue that is explored by exposing the brutality of Jim's situation and highlighting the dehumanizing characteristics of slavery. Huck's moral compass is also reoriented by his knowledge of Jim's temperament and circumstances and the societal norms stated by slaveholders who profit from his forced labor. The book displays the racist beliefs that supported slavery, such as the idea that black people were mentally and morally inferior to white people. This work has been controversial because of its depiction of racism and slavery, particularly in the use of racial slurs, such as the word Negro in many opportunities. What is more, the problem of slavery being described from the perspective of a white educated man is also under the scope of controversy, though Twain was a declared abolitionist. The debate is perfectly reasonable in a society which is still fighting to solve the problem of racism. While this country has made substantial progress since the time the novel was published, the subject is still a challenge, and this explains why The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is still relevant.